Hey, what's up, coaches? Dave Bishop here for Run the Damn Ball video podcast for one more time. Hey, I apologize for being away as long as we were. We moved. We were told we'd have internet within 2 weeks, and we are now in the middle of August, and we still don't have internet. So we went out and got a little T-Mobile 5G hotspot, which is kind of sufficing at the moment. But during that time period, guys, lots been going on. And now that we are dead into first week of football in Georgia and possibly some other states, and some of you guys won't be kicking off here maybe for another week or two, I want to go ahead and give you how we look at our special teams. Okay. And yes, you're probably wondering why the software looks different, because when I went to log in, it didn't work. And then why the video doesn't look as good, because when I went to put my webcam in, it didn't work. So God only knows what's going on right now, but today we're going to make the best of what we have and move forward and try to get things fixed from 1 week to the next. So I want to go ahead and share with you a breakdown of the little things that we look at in terms of special teams. Okay. So when we're looking at our special teams, guys, I want you to understand this. Coaches, it's important to know that you can lose the game in 3 phases if you're not good. The ones that'll kill you the most: punt, kickoff, and PAT field goal, primarily in that order. So work on those. Dedicate your time on those. In this case, those are protections. Okay. They're not usually situations where you're going to gain on people, but what you will do is not lose games because of these special teams. You can change games with 2 special teams. So you're looking at your punt, kick, return, and your punt, PAT, block. You can change the game with those. And so we spend a lot of time working those with our players and making sure that we have what we need to be successful on Friday nights. I started looking through it today, talking to the coach I'm working with at East Hall High School. And what we know is that in the last 2 years, we had 3 games that we won due to special teams. So without being successful in our special teams, that's probably 3 losses. And so important for you guys to understand that and take the time necessary. The practice of your special teams is probably more important than anything else, because that's what's going to prepare you. I see a lot of teams that they just go team, kick the ball, run down the field, here's your cones. And unfortunately, in reality, that doesn't exist. So, there's no cones on the field on Friday night. And while that's a great starting point, if that's all you're doing during the year, you're not helping yourself and you're not helping your team. So I want to encourage you to make special teams special. So one of the other things I talked about was, how do we steal time for offensive and defensive linemen? And you're going to see that here in our practice schedule. So Mondays for us is our video day. I don't bring kids in on the weekends. Monday's a long day. We probably get done at about 7. We usually start at about 3:50. So it's a long day for our kids, but I prefer not to bring them in on a Saturday. I want our kids and our coaches to have that day to themselves. So let's take a look. First thing we're going to do is we're going to work kickoff cover. Again, we're in season now, so the time is cut back a little bit. We're going to work 8 minutes worth of indie drills. So we've been working these drills for a couple of weeks now, but 8 minutes of individual, and we got coaches breaking down each one of the spots, and they're responsible for those positions. Then we're going to go 2 live kicks, and those 2 live kicks are going to be versus our JV return. So our JV's getting work on the return side of things while we're getting work on the cover. So you're getting 2 things done. And the third piece of that is your OL and DL group are working separately, because I'm not putting them on kickoff coverage. So think about it. How many kids on your entire team are standing around? There's not many. And that makes for a little bit more excitement for your kids. We're going to break from that. We're going 10 minutes of our punt. Again, 8 minutes of indie time with their coaches. And then we're going 2 live kicks and cover versus the JV block. So we're more of a block team than a return team. So we're getting live block from our JV, again, working against the JV, which is getting their work in. And then we'll have our OL and DL again, still working down the far end. The difference is in punt, we run a shield punt. And so we're going to need some linemen. but everybody else is still working. So they may be working on pass protections. They may be working on pass rush. They may be working on new installations and different skills that they may not be able to get any other time except for this time. Then we go ahead and end practice with one PAT, 2 field goals, 1 block, and 1 substitution PAT, which means if we're just going to scream, hey, Johnny's down, and one kid who's the sub, he knows he's running on the field. Guys, we don't have a substitution for every spot. So the way we look at it is I got a sub for 1 sub, maybe 2 for all the guards and all the tackles. I got 1 sub for the tight ends. I got 1 sub for the wings. You don't need to have 20 subs. Okay. To me, that's a waste of time. And really, those kids that are down that depth chart, hey, I'm the 3rd guard, they're not getting in anyway. So it's important to make sure that when you sub in a way that's intelligent and that helps you and helps your program. Tuesday, kickoff return. Again, 8 minutes of Indy, 2 live returns, first on JV kickoff return or versus JV kickoff coverage. Your offensive line and defensive line. There you go, 10 more minutes where they're able to work. So we're already up to stealing 30 minutes for our offensive and defensive line for them to get better. Because let's face it, a lot of games are won in the trenches. So we're going to get the most work we possibly can with these guys. We're going to end practice on a Tuesday with 1 PAT, 1 field goal. We're going to work 2 blocks and a 2-point play. Wednesday's our short day. A lot of our kids here, they're in youth groups and involved in church. So we try to get out about 15 to 20 minutes early. But on Wednesday, we're going to go punt, okay? And it's going to be a 5-minute period. So you've got 2 live punts versus the JV block. And while we do have OL and DL group, it's going to be much shorter. Then you have punt block. So this is a 10-minute period. During that 10-minute period, you got 8 minutes of Indy, and then you got 2 or 3 blocks versus the JV punt. There's 10 more minutes for your OL and DL. So that day is 15 minutes. So you got 10, 20, 30, 45 minutes a week that you get extra every week. You got 10 weeks. If you only play a regular schedule, no playoffs, 10 weeks times 400 or 45 is 450 extra minutes. All right. So you're stealing time all the time. Now on Thursdays, guys, to be quiet, or I'm sorry, we end practice 1 PAT, 1 field goal, 1 block. We've cut practice down a little bit quicker. Thursday, again, we're going to rep kickoff return Indy. We're also going to go through and walk through every one of our special teams and make sure that we have what we need. We're going to work our substitutions as well. So I want to show you real quick just what a practice schedule may look like. We can get into practice schedule and how we do it. On a Monday for us, it's very general. And you can see that a lot of stuff is not filled out, but it's how it's broken down. You can see where our special teams are located in our practice. One of the things I did years ago when we were struggling on special teams is in Georgia, we're required to have a water break. So as soon as we'd get out of water break, when that clock got down to 10 seconds in our period, I would start screaming the name of the special team. Those kids, when that horn sound, they were to sprint out of the field, get lined up, and then just do one. So if it were punt, we're screaming pride team, pride team, pride team. The pride team runs out there. The center's responsible for the ball. He snaps it. We kick it. We go. We're practicing getting in and out, on and off the field in situations where their mind isn't necessarily where it is, like on a Friday night if they're not in the game. Okay. So that is what a Monday breakdown would look like. On Tuesday, you can see that the practice schedule is filled out a little bit more than what it was on the other day. And I won't get into the fact there's nothing there for our wide receivers at the moment. And then the other piece over here, you can see offense, defense broken down. But we start with this. Now, this week, you might be saying, why you have hands team then? Well, we do work hands team. But the other piece of that is we have a team that they weren't kicking the ball off. They were going to kick it off. They were going to kick it on the ground. They were going to swib it. So rather than working a heavy kickoff return, we're working, fielding the ball. You can see down at the end of practice down here, you got your PAT field goal, how that's set up. And then this team also ran muddle huddle. And so we would run the muddle huddle cover. And then we would also have to deal with their 2-point plays, which they have a handful of. On Wednesday, again, punt, 2 kicks, block. We're going to go get it quickly, and we're going to work our way down through here. This should be a 10-minute period here instead of a 5-minute period. Then you're going to end. I always love ending practice with PAT field goal and then also block. And so block, that's for us working block. So we're always working block. We're working at the end of the day when we're a little tired, and gives us those opportunities for success. So coaches, here's what I'm going to tell you. My email is no longer working. So the Coach Bishop at coachboard.com is no longer working. So hear me out. RTDB, run the damn ball video at gmail.com. Leave me comments. And I know a lot of you, before we left, we were going to do a Zoom with Coach Christmas and really talk about some intricate things with his wishbone offense. And some of you guys had texted me and called me and wanted to know, hey, when is that going to happen? Here's what I'm going to tell you. I don't want to waste anybody's time, but if you're interested in having and being part of that Zoom and logging in and having questions that you could ask and have answered, please shoot me an email. Again, rtdbvideo at gmail.com. If you have questions about how we do special teams, you want to see some of our cut-ups, you want to talk about drills, hey, shoot me an email. And until then, run the damn ball.